Hey, what's going on, family? Torsten T's Guitars. Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you're new to the channel, hit like and subscribe at the end of it. Don't do it now. You may hate the content of the video, but I was thinking about this the other day, and I thought, you better put a video up on this thing because it's important stuff. So, what's trending in the budget guitar market, and we'll talk a little bit about T's Guitars, obviously, because that's kind of what we are as T's Guitars. And so one of the things that I've noticed about the budget guitar market, and this is going to be, I think, and it started in the last 6 months of 2024, and it's just going to be prevalent in the budget guitar market for the 300 and under, 400 and under, things like that. Some of the companies that we'll use EART as an example, EART. They've been doing this for a few years now. Their guitars are not under $300. If you want to get some, maybe some of them are. I really haven't done a lot of research on them, but 400 and up guitars, they use quality components. And so we're going to talk about quality components because that's what's going on, right? You're getting guitars with full-size pots, you're getting stainless steel frets, you're getting bone nuts, you're getting pinwheel truss rods, you're getting locking tuners, you're getting roasted necks, you're getting pickups, so what's the thought behind these things? So if you're getting, let's say you're getting full-size pots, all right, from a guitar, are they just bigger pots, just bigger cheap import pots, or are they good pots? Doesn't make a difference, In T's Guitars we use CTS pots, and there's a reason for that. You get more revolutions out of a pot before it fails. You get a nice roll with that, some of the so some of the import pots you get that, but how long are you going to get that? I don't know. I haven't sat there and waited it out, and haven't turned one 10,000 or 100,000 times to see if it fails or not. Frets, stainless steel ball end rounded frets are the standard on a budget guitar now. Even $99 guitars are coming with ball end rounded frets, but are they level? Right? Are they straight? Are they like this all over your fretboard? Bone nuts. That's becoming a standard item on a budget guitar. Is it a bone nut or is it a synthetic bone nut? Right? Pinwheel truss rods. Pretty much that's the way everyone's going. We're going to follow that trend too. I like them. It's easier than undoing the strings and everything like that. Right there between the neck and the locking tuners or the regular tuners. Locking tuners. All these things look great on paper. But if you've got locking tuners that are crappy tuners, there's still going to be crappy tuners with a lock on it, right? So again, all these things, they look good on paper. Roasted maple necks. A lot of people go, oh, I want a roasted maple neck. What's the thought behind a roasted maple neck? Do you like the feel of it? What does the manufacturer like about it? Well, they can use newer wood, cheaper wood that's not aged, and they roast it in order to stabilize the wood. If you use good wood, we use good wood. Our wood does not need stabilizing. Wood is unstable as it is, but you get new wood, or what they call wet wood. You roast it in order to get the to make it. So that's why you're getting a roasted maple neck, is because they're using a cheaper product out of the gate, right? You can get new wood or wet wood a lot cheaper than you can aged wood. Pickups. Here's another thing, what do they do with the pickups? What kind of pickups are you getting on these fantastically, on paper, a fantastic guitar? A lot of the guitars that I bought, and I buy my competitors' guitars. I have to keep up with what's going on. There's a word I use, and they sound China-ish, right? They just don't sound good. So what are you really getting? If you look at this guitar, and I hear a lot of people say this, well, these guitars have this and this and this and this and this. Okay, great, but what's the quality of this and this and this and this? What's going on with that, right? What are you really getting? Are you getting something that looks good on paper, that still the frets aren't level, the tuners still don't work? You may have to replace the bridge on it. I've seen this in a rather large manufacturing company or guitar supplier that's in the budget arena. Yeah, I had to change the saddles in the bridge. I had to do this. I had to do that. You shouldn't have to change anything. You should get very high quality components if that's what you're advertising. If that's what you're advertising. We advertise high quality components, and we put in high quality components in the guitars that we make. And The pickups are a big one. The pickups are a big one. When we first started doing this, we were at Beto. Whatever our supplier sent us is kind of what came in the guitar, and so we have to keep sending guitars back and forth and pickups back and forth and check. Oh yeah, we'll use those. We'll use those. Well, someone's still making those pickups, so you shouldn't have to change the pickups in a guitar. A lot of people ask me on the SBH HD models, well, what kind of pickups do you suggest? I say the stock ones. Well, why is that? Well, because we tested those guitars. We wound those pickups, and we know what that guitar sounds like tonally. We know the sustain of the guitar, which has a lot to do with the pickups, just so you know. It's not just all where the angle of the pickup and all the other, the neck and the frets and all the other stuff. It's actually the pickup itself has to sound good. We've gotten not one complaint about our pickups. I mean, the pickups are they're fabulous. I don't see a lot of SBH HDs in any of these platforms to where someone has taken out the pickups. We've got a musician. Last night he started a new. This one he's in an off-Broadway show, but it still plays on Broadway. And he was on public transportation last night. Took a picture of his purple SBH HD, and he said, it just hit me that I've hit my 100th show with this guitar and with my SBH, and it delivers every single time, man. What a fantastic guitar, and he used a couple of expletives in there, because we get excited when we talk about guitars. We're both guitar nerds, but it's pretty cool, that you don't need to change anything. The tuners we use are 18-to-1, and they're good locking tuners. The bone nut that we have is not a synthetic bone nut. The frets that we have are polished, they're leveled, they're straight, right? You don't have to worry about any of that kind of stuff when you get a Tees guitar. The truss rods that we have now, we've got a new HT coming out. It's a hardtail, and that'll have the pinwheel truss rod on it. And going forward, I think we'll probably go to that. It depends on how this one works out. I have to check the pinwheel on it. The tuners, the roasted maple necks, we get a distinct sound out of our guitars, and I don't want it to sound like anybody else's, but it does have to have a certain twang to it. And roasted maple necks or laurel or rosewood fretboards and all those things, they affect the tonality of our guitars. I love the way our guitars sound, and our customers, you guys, love the way that the SBH sounds. I'm not going to put a rosewood fretboard or a roasted maple neck on a guitar that sounds absolutely dreamy the way that it is, right? It does. It sounds perfect the way it is. If you want to change that kind of stuff out, by all means, knock yourself out. But I don't need to roast a maple neck because the wood that we buy is aged wood. It's not wet wood. Our necks are pretty stable for being maple necks. They really are. It's good wood. What else has changed in the budget guitar market? I can tell you what hasn't changed, and it's the quality control, right? That hasn't changed. People are still sending guitars over from China. They're leaving on a boat for upwards around 2 months. Then they're going into a warehouse and they're sitting there, and you get a box that's never been opened. So does that company care about what they're selling, or are they just they're amazingly they can see through the boxes and tell you that the guitar is fine just the way it is, or does that just become your problem? Is that your issue, right? If the box hasn't been opened and the guitar hasn't been checked, if it was checked in China, that's one thing, but it's got to be checked here, bro. Because just sitting on that boat, the frets are going to get grit on them. They are, and I know this because I do this, man. You're going to need to check the neck relief. The climate changes that these guitars, and I don't care if it's roasted maple or not, your truss rod's going to need to be adjusted, man, a little bit. If not that, sometimes a lot of bit, but a little bit. They also get banged around. Things like that. You just got to check the guitars. We check our guitars. Our competition, they don't check their guitar. Most of them. I'm not going to say all of them. Most of them, they don't check their guitars. So what do? We check everything before it goes out to you. If it's got, I'm not going to send you a guitar with gritty frets anymore, man. It's not going to happen. We've been doing it on the SBH, and now we've taken it to the next level as far as the manufacturing process, to where they now polish our frets up to about 2,500, which is really good. But if those guitars sit for 3 to 4 months before they sell, they're going to need to be gone over. So we're having our guitars shipped to New York now, to where even the ST1s will be able to check and go through those frets and make sure that everything is just the way it should be before you get the guitar. So that's the quality control component of our company, to where we stand out above the rest. We actually look at every single guitar before it goes out to you. Every once in a while, one may get by. I'm not going to say that we're not perfect. I mean, because we're not. We're not perfect, I should say. Whatever, mix the words around. Customer service is another thing that's not trending in the budget guitar industry. These guitars may have better components than they had 2 years ago, but the customer service from every single competitor that I have ran into is exactly the same. And I'm proud to say that it's exactly the same at T's Guitars. Just because we start selling a bunch of guitars doesn't mean that our customer service has gone down in the least bit. It hasn't. Um, Customer service really isn't a big deal for us because we check all the guitars before they go out to you guys, so there isn't a lot. The customer service that we have to deal with here at T's Guitars is usually UPS damage. That's what it is, or something electrical, goes wrong in the car. We can check these guitars all day long, and if there's something from the manufacturer that was almost going to break, and then they get in the back of a UPS truck, or they go to a UPS, and they're thrown around or something like that, and a solder point comes loose. It shouldn't happen, but it does happen. It does happen, and for that we make it right. But what are these other companies doing, right? I think that they should step up their game as far as customer service goes. I really honestly do. I don't think that you should have to wait any more than like a few hours, unless it's the middle of the night, a few hours to get an answer back on your issue. If you call during normal business hours, like at T's Guitars, normal business hours are from 8 a.m. Eastern Time till about 10 o'clock Eastern Time, Monday through Saturday. Sunday, I really like to have my days with the family and things like that. But you call any other time when we're open, we're going to pick up the phone, and if you send an email, we're going to return that email. If you get on the website chat, we're going to return your website chat. If you got any questions or things like that, we get right on it. I can't imagine buying something for a few $100s and saying, hey, this thing doesn't work, and waiting like a day or two to get a response. It doesn't fly with me, and that's not the way that I was brought up, because I'm an older guy and customer service was actually customer service. So to get back to the let's get back to the components a little bit about this. So when we build a guitar, it takes about 8 to 12 months in order to get that guitar from a concept to a completion. And we don't just take all these quality components, put them on a piece of wood and give it a name and ship it out. We spend a lot of time doing that. I've bought guitars from the competitors they have really nice components in it, and I get it, and I just go, what's the thought behind putting this in there if it's not going to do this or it's not going to do that? If it has no value, in other words, other than, hey, let's sell a guitar. Let's put another mark in the green box as opposed to the red box. And eventually, I'm assuming that a lot of those guitars come back and end up being in the red box. And we're just not about that, man. If there's a guitar out there that I don't like, I'm not going to put it out on the streets. We've got an SS1 that we ordered a couple of years ago. The guitar wasn't up to snuff. Didn't put it out on the streets. It's been sitting in my warehouse for a year, and I found that a lot of people like to tinker with guitars. So the guitar that I paid $125 for, that's what I paid for. I'm selling it for like $99.99. Just for, and I let people know it's going to need a setup. It's got a Floyd Rose licensed by bridge on it. It doesn't hold tune. It gets hung up. You're going to have to bevel the bridge plate on it. You're going to have to reset the guitar up. It's definitely got sharp frets on it. It's been sitting for a year and a half or a year or so in the warehouse. The tuners aren't great, but it's got a locking nut, so that really doesn't really matter. Things like that. $99. And that's just for tinkerers. I'm not doing it to make money. Obviously, I'm losing money on this deal. But if you like to mess with guitars, that's a good deal. I don't want to send out guitars that don't make sense. That guitar didn't make sense. It's a guitar that it's got great components in it. I mean, it really does. It sounds great, and if it were to only stay in tune, it won't stay in tune. So a great sounding guitar that doesn't stay in tune is no good. And that's what I'm trying to say. That guitar's got really good components in it, but it's still not a good guitar. It can be a good guitar with some work, You know, we actually we have OEM bridges that we have set aside. I've got a little over a dozen of those left from the units we didn't sell, and you know, we can put one in, or we can sell you a bridge if you want to put an OEM FR bridge in there that actually says Floyd Rose on it. It's not licensed by, it's an actual Floyd Rose bridge. You can do that. You know, those bridges, they're not cheap. They cost a lot of money. And that's about $1.25 just for the bridge. So you're paying $99 for a guitar with great components that doesn't work, and you have to put another $125 into it. Doesn't make sense to me. I had to do it just because, you know, just can't sit on these guitars. But, you know, for $100, and it cost me anywhere, you know, from no less than usually $20 up to $30 to ship a guitar. So we're eating it on those guitars. But maybe some people can have some fun out of it, and that's kind of the thinking behind just getting rid of them. And they're taking up space in our warehouse, and they're just sitting around. And I go, we got to do something with these, so let's just blow them out. But a lot of the guitars that you get, the first thing you have to do is you have to change the pickups in them. You know, the second thing you have to do is you have to put tuners on them. And while you're in there changing the pickups, chances are you're going to change the pots in them. You know, these are things that you shouldn't have to do with something that you spent a couple $100 on. You know, if you've got a $100, $150 guitar, I understand if you want to change that up, but it should still be playable out of the box too, right? And it should be intonated. It should be set up. Our guitars come set up. I don't think that our competitors. You get lucky if you get one that's set up. For here, that's kind of the norm. You get one that's playable and set up right out of the box. What else? I think that's it, man. I think, you know, that components are driving the market. They're obviously driving the price line of these budget guitars. The budget guitars they're starting to climb up a little bit because of the components. But it does have to make sense why you're putting these components in. And I want you guys to know that here at Tees Guitars, we test these guitars and try to make the absolute best sounding and playing guitar that we can before it ships out to you. And I know this kind of sounds like a commercial, but it's really not. It's just it boggles the mind that you would spend the money to put all these quality components in, and then still not have a playable guitar. You know, but you're charging like this thing should be, you know, the creme de la creme. So just food for thought. That's what I think that the budget guitar market is kind of trending towards, is all these components that are coming out. So just because it looks good on paper doesn't mean that it's going to be a good guitar. That's kind of my fair warning on that deal. So as always, family, rock on. And have a great rest of the weekend. If you're watching this during the week, have a great rest of the week. If you like the content of this video, or you're kind of a fan of Tees Guitars and you haven't done so yet, like and subscribe here. Go on our website. And if you go down to the bottom of the homepage, it'll say Instagram, it'll say Facebook, it'll say TikTok, it'll say YouTube, and you can join us there and share this stuff with your friends. And we really, really, really appreciate you. All right? So again, family, rock on and have a great day.